Well, hello, people out there in April Ross TV land, BEETV. It is such an honor. We're winding down our season, our mini season, so we'll be ready to start back up in the spring. There's got little things that are coming your way. We're going to do something different in December, so be on the lookout for just me and maybe my husband, but mostly about me. No interviews, just a little word from God, just some pick me up, just some empowering moments, some things like that. Because if we're realistic, we are living in some tough days. And so I just praise and thank God for this platform. And so we can just continue to know each other a little better. I am so honored and grateful that you tune in every week just to see what thus says the Lord, and just to see what the people are doing in your community that are change agents. Now, I promise you, I may get a little emotional of this interview. I have one of my friends here who's a friend of a friend, and he's going to talk us about what it means to really win, how it means to survive and still win. I want to welcome you to this platform this week, my friend, none other than Pastor Tucker of Believers Church International. So glad to have you, Pastor.
I'm so glad to be here with you, Dr. Bell. It's just an honor and a privilege.
I tell you what, we're just going to get through it, ain't we?
We're going to try this one.
You my friend, I'm a friend.
Yeah.
You know, I told April, and I'm sure she watches every show, and she'll remember. I told her, I said, I'm going to interview the pastor, the main man, Pastor Tucker, and she said, Belle. I said, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be ready. I said, we're gonna get through it together.
Yeah.
You were the husband of my friend, and we'll talk about her in a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you stand for. Let the people know, who are you, Pastor?
Well, first, as you stated earlier, I'm Pastor Krisse Tucker of the Believers Church International here in Auburn, Alabama. What the Lord is doing a great work here with us. It was by way of the Holy Spirit and strategic shifting that we ended up here. It was with much prayer, right, much supplication that we were able to take this assignment in this area, especially from where I came from. And my background, who I'm connected to.
That's correct.
And so
power.
Power. And so leaving from that main source,
right,
being very instrumental in the vision of my pastor in her ministry, because when you look at her ministry, you can't help but to know who I am, because I was very instrumental in working with her. So when this assignment came by way of the Holy Spirit, it was hard to accept. And one thing I found out, sometimes if we're going to win, you have to enter into some battles that are uncomfortable but are beneficial for where you're going. So we're here.
Yeah, we are here, and we're talking about none other than a good doctor, Bishop Bertha Hodge. I'll tell you, none other. She told me one time, Pastor Tucker, when I was really struggling with trying to figure out, how to just deal with my mom, who's an alcoholic. Bless her sweetheart. I love her to death. I've always loved her, but I didn't know what that disease looked like. Yeah. And she told me when she first met me, she said, "You're the problem." And I'm like, this woman, she was like, because once you realize that God created your mom how she is, and she is who she is, and you accept her and see her the way God sees her, she said, you'll never be comfortable. She said, you're the problem. And so I took that, and I used that with a couple other things that I met you all. You call me auntie, I call you nephew. But some of the things I've learned from watching you guys. Yeah. But I took that to heart, and my mom was able to enjoy what I needed to give her as a daughter, because I began to see her differently, because I realized it was in me. And so once God healed that place that I was trying to make her be in me, then everything was fine. And praise God, before she left here. Won. Oh my good, because I chose to win. So we have the church, which is a beautiful church, by the way. You always say we come down here and just take over your Ephesus. It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful Ephesus though. Like it's just very uniquely put together. I was walking through and saw some of the things that are about it, even to the sanctuary. I just love it. So you're a pastor, and you are a leader.
I'm a leader.
And you are a trailblazer. Now, you didn't tell me that. That's what I'm calling you.
Oh, wow.
You are a trailblazer, because I've watched you be, you're not so spiritual that you're no earthly good. You are around people that a lot of people will choose not to be around, and you're just as comfortable. So tell us, how do you do that as a pastor? How do you navigate that, separating who you are as a man of God, but being who you are, you need to be to his people?
through life lessons and being around different mentors and leadership, Paul says it this way: since we are surrounded by so great cloud of witnesses. So it was those witnesses, and I'm sorry, we still dealing with this. It was those witnesses that taught me how to win.
Right.
And I found out that many lessons that I learned how to navigate as a pastor, and as you would say, basically what you're saying, how to navigate humanity and divinity. Many times we are in leadership, especially when it comes to in Christendom, we don't know how to bring the two together and make them work, because you can't have one without the other.
Right.
As they would say in the Baptist church, that Jesus was 100% God, that he didn't cease to be man.
Right.
That he didn't cease to be God.
Absolutely.
He brought balance to it. He brought a cadence to it. He brought synergy to it. So what I've learned how to do is that whoever I meet and whatever circle that I'm in, I learn how to accept the circle that I create.
Ooh.
And so when I go into the circle, I learn how to adapt to the circle. And when I adapt to the circle is able to glean from me, because I didn't come to take nothing from the circle, but bring something to it.
The circle.
And what I brought was just simply my presence. And so, being a pastor, many times I'm judged. I'm looked upon. Our comments are made. Well, how can you deal with that one? How can you go over there? Paul said, I became of many people to draw them. I became of some things to draw people. So here it is. I don't engage in what they're doing, but I make my presence known enough to the point that they see who I am and see my light, and God calls them to respect the light without me forcing it on them. Sometimes people would never get to God like I am, but I would be the only Bible that they ever see. So I got to be a good duplicate or a good representation of God. So I learned how to accept people for who they are.
Yes.
Like you said about your mother, sometimes you can look at a situation and by your discernment, that ain't right.
Right.
You can pick out a lot of things that's not right. I'm sure it's a lot of stuff you saw that, Mama, that ain't right.
Right.
That's not good. And then in your career, this is not going to match this. But God said, through the woman of God, just be you and accept who God created her to be.
Right.
And you were able to give her something that she never had. Watch this. You made her feel like that she was the best mother in the whole wide world, because she already knew what she was doing wrong.
Right.
So many times I've learned how to just accept people for who they are. And in that method, I've
You too early to start all this crime. You said something a moment ago. You said you learned to adapt. You didn't say anything about changing people. I think that's where we mess it up in the kingdom. We think once we get a title that we just gotta all of a sudden make people who we want to be. When the truth is, we still dealing with so much that we screwed up, and had God not covered us. I told somebody the other day, let's not act like some of our stuff ain't been covered and ain't still being covered. So let's not pretend that because our walk with him requires him to cover us in those places, not to speak to us and let us know, now I'm about to have enough of you, but cover us because of who our witness is.
Wow.
See, because of what our witness is, he keeps us covered. And so when he allows people to be uncovered for whatever ministry is, then we want to judge that.
I'm telling you, listen, I found out, Dr. Bell, and this is why I love you so much. You just became a part of our family. Like, we just immediately, when you gave my wife a shot at being a parapro, teacher's assistant, or whatever, she wore many hats.
Ruler of the school.
When you gave her a shot, I can never forget the day when you called, and you and Sydney, Elnora, y'all talked, and I said, you better jump on that. And so every day it was Dr. Bell in our house, even to the point where Nia is attached to you. I'm attached to you. Even though Kawana is not here, her legacy lives, and you are one of the reasons why she have a legacy, because you gave her a shot. But to go back to pick off what you said, many a times we kill people in what they're going through, because watch this, we judge the revealed sin and forget that, watch this, ours is concealed. And so the reason why we treat people good, the reason why I treat people and meet them at their point of need, because watch this, their situation is just revealed, but I've gone through the same thing, and God just concealed mine. You hear what I'm saying?
That's good.
And so many times we got to be very careful when we judge people, because ours is just concealed, and God just didn't let her get caught. That's why when you see me in church, I'm running in the shower, because watch this, my neighbor got caught. I just didn't get caught. You hear me? And I thank God. So when I see the individual,
you gotta free them.
You say it again?
Free the people.
Free them. You know what I'm saying? Because watch this. God gave me my pardon privately. You hear me? He gave me my pardon privately. And so that's one of the things I like about what you're doing. Choose to win, and many other things that you do, because you bring something to the table that you're never selfish. You always know the outcome. You know we gonna win. So here it is. So that hard talk, that come and get yourself together. My wife came and said, "Here, I think Dr. Bell may help me." And I said, "Listen, going back, it'll be all right tomorrow." Then we came to find out, y'all became the best of friends. And it was Auntie Frankie. And it was, I'm telling you, everybody auntie. You know what I'm saying? You everybody auntie. And so even in that, I found out that when you learn how to accept people and learn how to be merciful, because if we have not done it, we're going to do it. And if we're going to do it, if we have not done it and going to do it, get ready. Watch this. We just came out of it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So either way, all of us can win when we all just learn how to adapt to each other's situations.
That's and you're right. I loved her so much, and she came to me one day, and she told me just these words. And this is a right transition. I think you brought it in perfectly. And she said, "Dr. Bell, my parents died young. My mom died young, and her brother, because she said, I got to get control of my health." And she said, "I used to pick at you because you used to laugh because you eat salad without dressing."
Without no dressing. Everybody know that in our house.
Right, they used to get on my nerves. She said, but I said, I'm not going to eat the ranch. No. And so she said, "How are you eating that just like that?" She said, "Who does that?" But then she came to me one day and she said, "I got to get a control of my health." And the next thing you knew, no girl left behind.
Popped out.
She started, and so when you're with a person all the time, you don't really see the transformation. And one day she put a picture up, and I was like, "Oh my God, what, Lord?" She said, "I took control of my life, and with the control of her life, she drew other people to take control of theirs." And what you said a moment ago, God has created us to be selfless beings. I think we get so caught up in what we want from God, we forget that He didn't create us for us. He created us for His kingdom. And so when people say that I am not a selfish person, it has nothing to do with who I am, because sometimes I want to keep the money I give away. Sometimes I want to say ugly things to the people that have talked ugly to me. Sometimes I want to not forgive. I was running this morning. I said, "No, Lord, this is it this time. I ain't forgiving them, I ain't studying them, and I ain't talking to them." And then you come right over here on this platform and say, God, we got to adapt, because, they may not know it, or they have been given the grace that God has given me, so they don't know what grace looks like. And if we realize that it's going to take grace in this season,
I'm telling you.
Boy, I tell you, that Timothy is sure enough coming to fruition.
You better hear me.
But your wife was, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit. I know what she was to me.
Yeah, let's hear it.
When you got people that love you for you.
For you.
And they used to describe me as, boy, that Dr. Bell, she's off the chain. That Dr. Bell, she don't play. That Dr. Bell, she love those kids. That Dr. Bell gonna make you put your family first. But then when I didn't have to conform for her, and I'll be going through something, when I was going through that, and I haven't brought this situation up about my job in years, but I gotta bring it up now, because I remember when I was put on leave, she called. She said, "Auntie, I ain't gonna take up a lot of your time. I just want you to know, we got you in prayer." She didn't say nothing about the situation. She said, me and Pastor Tucker got you in prayer. She said, and I didn't have to prove anything to her. And when you have those kind of people that you don't have to prove your love for God to, when they are no longer here, there's a piece of you that desires that conversation. And I think I just need to hear her sometimes say, because it's a season where we're all going through some things.
Oh, yeah.
And I needed Kawana to call me and say, Doc, don't you let the devil have your witness. Don't you let him have your peace. And I think that's what I missed the most about her. But let's talk about what she is to you.
Oh.
We're going to break right here and take a commercial. We'll be right back. We're going to keep that same energy. Y'all don't move. We'll be right back now. Well, welcome back. We just need to take a few minutes to just remind ourselves how good God still is. So we're coming back, Pastor.
Amen.
Soon to be whatever elevation God is going, but the elevation is coming.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you can feel it. I was talking to you off camera.
Yeah.
That people don't realize how hard it is sometimes to just have had a meltdown, but then have to come and deliver them.
Yeah.
How do you do that as far as what you've gone through? We lost a great person.
Yeah.
No child, no girl left behind. How do you do that?
Accepting the fact that there is, as you said earlier, accepting the humanity, accepting humanity, and accepting that side of us that God created us both, spirit and human. And so I found out that if you ever try to block out that side, you're gonna crash.
Right.
You're gonna crash. So even in the moment that you allowed us to, break for a moment because it was really needed, but I even now feel the strength of God, knowing that I didn't try to keep going, but allow God to come in and minister. And so now, we back.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And so sometimes in order to win, you got to get a second wind to win.
Yes.
And so thank God for good coaches like yourself that know what we needed. And so, Kawana, to answer your question, what she meant to me, I could say she meant the world to me, but that's just too shallow. And you're going to be the first one to hear me say this. I'm going to do something later on. But Kawana, the Lord bless her in my life to be my groomer. She groomed me. And what I thought that was bad in the genesis of our marriage, because I thought I made a mistake when I married her. I'm like, ain't nothing about the church. Ain't nothing about her religious. ain't nothing about her just so overly feministic. Now, she had a feminine side, but she was a more of a tough girl. You know what I'm saying? And so Kawana would dap you up before she would give you a hug. You know what I'm saying?
She'd always.
And so for a long time, I was like, God, what did I do? You know what I'm saying? But did not know that my deliverance was disguised in what I thought was a dilemma.
Oh, ooh.
No,
that's going to preach somewhere. Somebody, one of them preachers going to see that.
And did not know that my deliverance was disguised in what I thought was a dilemma. And sometimes the content that you need always don't come packaged in the good-looking container.
There you go.
Now, not saying she was good-looking because
she was
beautiful.
Yeah, she was beautiful too. Yeah.
One of the things that pulled me to her, with y'all,
good hair.
Them hair, them dudes, you know what I'm saying? Girl had some silky hair, you know what I'm saying? I love long hair, beautiful hair. And so I was like, what am I gonna do when I start preaching and, walk out, because Kawana would do, thank God for our circle. When I say I love y'all, I mean, when it comes to you, Krisse, Cindy, Miracle, I can go on the name. Y'all helped me and y'all helped our marriage because a lot of the qualities that I thought I should have got in the beginning, there was some battles I had to win to get them.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? Many times we want prosperity and we want upgrade without going through anything.
Right.
But some stuff you got to fight for. You got to fight to get it.
Yep.
And you sure enough got to fight to keep it. So Kawana became that person to me. She became my groomer because I remember my pastor telling me one time, and I'm just going to be transparent. I was contemplating getting divorced one time. I was like...
Has everybody who listening to this show... Including the good doctor? And Deacon Bell?
No.
Almost 30 years. I know we were asking when you see him. People need to understand.
Listen, and I'll never forget my pastor encouraged me. She said, I can't stop you from doing what you want to do. She said, but you listen to me good. She said, God is going to bring something good out of this for the both of you guys. She said, Kawana is who you need, and you is who Kawana need in y'all's life. This marriage is going to be magnanimous. I didn't see it then. One thing about winning and in life, you got to always have a good coach that can see. You see to the corner, but the coach can see around the corner.
That's good.
And so I thank God that I held on to those so great cloud of witnesses that instilled in me that winning is coming. But watch this. But sometimes losing is winning.
Yes. You better hear me.
And sometimes losing is winning. And so Kawana became that groomer for me because even in some seasons that I lost personally, she was there for me. You know
cheerleader.
I'm talking about she was a cheerleader. She was my spotter. She was my coach, my lover. And so Kawana, I learned how to accept and adapt to who she was,
right,
and get out of her what I needed for my life. And so even in this transition, I did not know the real meaning of what Kawana meant in my life until hearing those words that day. You know, she didn't make it.
Right. Just like I tell people about my mom.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of a cheerleader, how much she loved me.
Yeah. Until
the doctor says, she's not going to make it.
She's not going to make it.
And it scared me. I was like, what? I get it now, God. I get it. Give me the opportunity to show her. And so I think that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
All that time we've wasted.
Yeah.
We want to show them now.
Yeah.
I see what you are to me.
Yeah.
But isn't God so amazing that he shows it to you when you need to see it? I can play this back in my mind. And now let me just make sure everybody knows I was so good to my mom. I was what I was supposed to be. Number one, as a woman of God, but number two, as a daughter. And now, if she got to drinking, I would always excuse myself because I never disrespected my mom. And I don't understand this generation, but that's another show. But I've never disrespected who she was, drunk or sober.
Yeah.
That's just how I was raised. And that's what I just thought. No matter what she went through, I always kept my place. But I always felt some type of way about what my mom was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then when she left me, I realized she was exactly what I needed.
What you needed.
And it created in me a sense of urgency to let people see. I stopped worrying about what people thought about me as much. Because, see, God, my mom the whole time was telling me how wonderful I am. I'm sure like your wife used to tell you how there's nobody who's smarter than you, Frankie. There's nobody who's prettier than you, Frankie, who sings better than you.
Exactly.
And just like, well, can't nobody out-preach you, doc. You can hear it. Can't nobody and she used to tell us that. I love to listen to preach. Yeah. How was church today? Girl, he tore it up. So then what we miss is what was in the front of us the entire time.
I heard somebody say sometimes we miss what we're looking for, looking for what we missed.
Ooh, now that's powerful.
Sometimes we miss what we're looking for what we missed in front of us the whole time. I like what you said a minute ago about your mom when you found out that she was exactly what you needed. I think it was Bishop Jakes or I think Dr. Darius Daniels, one of those said this, and I quote, they said that you have to accept people for who they are because some people are like paint and quartz, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And sometimes you have to accept that what they gave you was all they had.
Yes.
Because it was their measure. The Bible said he gave all of us a measure. And watch this, and our measurements are not all the same, but when you accept the measure of who a person is, you accept what they can give. Watch this. Your mother may didn't give you what you thought she should have given you, but she gave you what you needed.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stuff you wanted from her, but watch this. That wasn't in her measure.
Right.
But watch this. You still kept the principles that she's my mama.
That's right.
And I'm her daughter.
I say that with pride too. Listen, I think one of my children asked me one time, said, when grandmama do this, how you deal with it? Because that's the only mother I've had. See, I didn't get the opportunity to know another mother. So I'm going to love the mother that I have the way God has required me to love. Not how I felt about it, not how I felt like I needed her to be the mama that used to take me to the games or take me to the mall.
I love you all the time.
Liz taught me how to survive.
Who was she?
Liz. Liz taught Frankie how to survive. And everything good I am, Pastor, I realized a long time ago came from her.
Came from Liz.
Everything good. Hear me now. Everything good that I am.
Yeah. And that's what Kawana was to me. I learned how to stop complaining and start conquering with Kawana.
Ooh, that's
Learn
good.
how to stop complaining and start conquering with
And
Kawana.
y'all did that too.
And I'm telling you, and it got to the point where, and I'm gonna say this, I had to constantly pray and lay before God because out of 14 years of being married to Kawana, we had some rough spots.
Right.
Rough spot on both ends.
Right.
We both contributed to some of the casualties that that happened in our marriage. But again, good witnesses, good cloud of witnesses, taught us and gave us tools for troubled times that we were able to make it through it. And like the last couple of years of our life became awesome. And I'm like, God, I never forget when the doctors came in and told us, Miracle was there as well. She was one of the nurses that came in with the doctor to deliver, the news of Kwan's transition. And immediately I got emotional. But while I was on my knees in that waiting room, I said, Lord, you took her right when it was getting good.
That's right.
And later on, I heard the Lord He said, I didn't take her when it was getting good. I took her at the right time.
That's right.
Because she had ran the race enough. Watch this. She was in the wind and running. You love to run. And when you're running a marathon, a relay race or however it is, the Lord said, it's just time for you to pick up
where she
dropped off. And watch this. She didn't stop running. She just ran to where she needed to be. And that's to me. Now you got to finish the race.
Woo.
And so many times, but watch this. God said, thank God that she was able enough to pass the baton and release it and keep running. You see what I'm saying? Because many times we try to get to a place that we need to be, and we stop because we try to hold on to something that God wants us to. And she released everything I need to make it. So I'm surviving.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Before we got to make sure that the people know how to contact you.
Okay.
Give us your address real quick.
Okay, here it is. Our address is 1750 Opelika Road here in Auburn, Alabama, Suite E. Our Facebook page is Believers Church International. You can reach me at Terry Tucker on Facebook, and you can also reach me at Carterius Tucker Ministries on Facebook, and also Carterius Tucker on Instagram. Amen. Check us out.
Well. Man, we could go on for days. Yeah, 30 minutes don't even seem like it's long enough.
We got to come back.
Thank you. Oh, we got to have a part 2. I love you, Pastor.
I love you too.
Thank you for sharing her legacy with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, guys, there it is. We've wrapped up another one. Wasn't this one not the best? I promise it's going to be an encore. I guarantee you this is just not good enough. Thank you all for watching again. Remember, if you got a story you wanted to tell, go to fnfministries.org or go to our YouTube, Frankie Bell, Ph.D. And tune in again next week as we bring phenomenal stories of change agents. And you know what I always say, if you have one decision and you have it to make, you make that decision. And what they got to choose to do?
Win.
Choose to win. Y'all have a good day now. Take care.